Man, what is up, YouTube? We are back with another video, part 2, YSL versus YFN Atlanta Street Gang, Secret Street Gang, by Trap Lord Ross. So yeah, I'm gonna go make some food and I'm gonna leave the video running. Enjoy it.
In the midst of the death of Big Nut, the war between YFN and YSL was heating up in the streets. During this time, a lot of the beef in the area was kept offline, especially considering the fact that in 2015, when Nut's life was taken, both Thug and Lucci were still relatively early on in their careers. So at this point, the kind of gang-related activity going on around these two artists was subject to far less scrutiny. However, in 2016, as YFN Lucci's career begins to pick up steam and he appears in a number of on-camera interviews, he reveals just how real his life in the streets of Atlanta has truly gotten, telling Karen Civil that his family home had been the target of numerous shootings.
When my house got shot up, I was out of town though, man. I get a call from mom and say the house got shot. They ain't even pull up in front of the house. They pull up like right here, and they was just shooting it like, you know, sideways behind the car in the street. They was in the street though soon, because that's where all the cell was.
Yes, apparently the ops were pulling up at YFN Lucci's house and straight spraying it up. But that wasn't the only time. Apparently they came back, and this time Lucci's own mother was left injured.
He ain't even really gonna say it.
Started
like, how did he say it happened again? We hop out, we come over here. Jew was in here, my big brother. Jew was in here, my baby mama, and my little girl, and my mom and her friend. Both of them got shot, my mom and her friend.
Whilst he was forthcoming to Karen Civil about the details of the shooting, when asked about who did it in a Vlad TV interview, Lucci was much less forthcoming.
You don't know who did it? Street code, right?
So, at this point, the stakes in the streets of Atlanta are getting very high. And when mothers are getting hit, you know that the beef is serious. But even worse than involving mothers is involving children. And as the beef goes on, you will see that rappers on both sides of this feud aren't afraid to take it there, bringing their own ops kids into the beef just to goad their rivals. In February 2016, YFN Lucci took to Instagram to wish Young Thug's daughter a happy birthday, posting a video of her face, which I'm definitely not going to put in this video. An incredibly ominous and serious message from YFN Lucci to Young Thug. But in spite of this kind of bold message sent on social media for the whole world to see, Lucci wasn't done prodding Thug. That same month, he also took to Twitter, saying that Young Thug's fiancée Jerica misses being on the couch with Lucci. He went on to infer that Young Thug would cry if he saw the DMs between Lucci and Jerica. Lucci would go on to post the unverified but supposed messages between him and Jerica, which weren't really damning or necessarily verifiable, but at the very least, if true, they would infer that Jerica had been to visit Lucci. Anyway, Lucci attempted to back up that unverifiable screen grab with a tweet saying true story, and another saying that he's got someone's hoe on a leash, going on to infer that he stole a rich person's girl, and atting Jerica directly saying that he misses her, shooting out another tweet to suggest that her denying this is a lie. And finally, ending his tirade by tweeting out 3 L's, which I assume were aimed at Young Thug. Now, Thug eventually replied in a tweet suggesting that Lucci was just looking for clout, and another saying that if a rapper wants to come up, they should collab rather than trying to start beef. A month after this, in March 2016, Lucci does an interview with DJ Small's Eyes where he suggests that he doesn't even know who Young Thug is.
You and Thug. I don't know her. Never heard of him.
Now, at a certain point, it would make sense for Lucci to set his pride and this beef to one side and focus on his buzzing music career. By this point, Lucci was just about getting to that next level. Since joining up with CEO Fly of Think It's a Game Entertainment, he'd gone on to drop his follow-up mixtape Wish Me Well 2, just about landing in on the Billboard charts at position 183. This would be Lucci's first real chart hit, with Lucci and Fly both pulling up for a celebratory interview on The Breakfast Club. And in this interview, Lucci had some choice words, not just for Young Thug, but also his fiancée Jerica, doubling down on his earlier tweet shooting his shot at her, with Lucci saying he'll holler at whoever he wants.
Now I saw you also was tweeting at Young Thug's fiance.
If that was his girl, that was his girl. You smell me?
Okay, so you didn't know me.
Hey man, we in the street, man. I met everybody.
Not long after brushing off the Young Thug drama, Lucci would go on in this interview to boldly proclaim that he is still tied in with the streets and that everybody he keeps around him now has street credentials.
We ain't got time hanging in the streets, man. We been did that.
What about your circle of people that was with you in Atlanta before everything started
They
moving?
still with me. YFN BC.
Fuck.
Like all of us, we grew up together. Blood brothers to best friends, and we were like 8. So you know, that really it
Right
can get.
back.
But ironically,
Gotta put
while
the chicken in.
Lucci is breaking into the charts for the first time, still maintaining his ties to the streets, Young Thug's career is progressing at lightning speed. But let's not forget, as Lucci was just signing his very first deals, Young Thug was running around on yachts with Birdman, living the lifestyle, and slowly putting together a string of hits. While Lucci was making baby steps, Young Thug, who had had a head start of a couple of years, was making huge strides. In mid-2014, Young Thug signed to 300 Entertainment, and in 2015, in response to a large amount of his his music leaking, Thug would end up dropping a colossal amount of music. His controversial Barter 6 project release, with the album's title Barter 6, sparking a furious feud with Lil Wayne, who had named a number of his albums The Carter, with this feud ultimately culminating in Lil Wayne's tour bus being shot up by an affiliate of Young Thug and Birdman, an incident that I covered in a separate video years ago on this channel. Go check that out if you haven't. But anyway, following the huge success of Barter 6, Thug would then go on to drop 2 installments of his Slime Season mixtape series to an overwhelmingly positive response. The first of which featured the classic Young Thug single Best Friend, which itself charted at 45 on Billboard, with these moves putting Young Thug in a prime position for an enormous 2016. And whilst YFN Lucci was getting his very first Billboard successes with his Wish Me Well 2 mixtape, Young Thug was going mainstream. He landed a Calvin Klein campaign, he dropped charting singles with Travis Scott and Usher, a 3rd installment of his Slime Season mixtape, and probably most iconic of all was his enormous album release Jeffrey, coming along with that famous cover art where Young Thug wore a dress. Now Jeffrey and its cross-dressing cover art stoked a lot of discussion in hip-hop about masculinity, gender, and self-image in a genre of music that's generally not known for its dress-wearing rappers. Now Thug would later go on to try and reclaim some gangster points, suggesting that the only reason he wore a dress is so that he could hide an AK-47 under it, but the reality is, a gangster throwing a dress on the cover of their album is always going to generate a lot of attention and sales. Jeffrey was a huge success, peaking at number 8 on Billboard, and frankly bringing the discourse in hip-hop forward about 10 years. After Jeffrey, Young Thug had cemented himself as a trap rap icon, and as a result, the streams and sales were rolling in. Young Thug was one of the hottest commodities in town, and everyone was lining up to throw a bag at him. So following the successful launch of Jeffrey, Young Thug would finally be in prime position to put into action his plan of making everybody around him a millionaire, at which point he worked closely with Lyle Cohen of 300 Entertainment to launch his own sub-record label, YSL. Now to this day, it's still not definitively clear what the S in YSL stands for. Is it Young Stoner Life, Young Slime Life, Young Slap Life? It doesn't really matter, because Young Thug had finally and truly bossed up, escaping the blocks of Cleveland Avenue, making a whole bunch of hit records, and using his movement in the music industry to finally bring his vision for a label to life, and legitimately put on all of the friends and family who had been there with him, helping him survive from the early days in the trenches. This was an incredible achievement for Young Thug that likely inspired many more aspiring rappers to do the very same. And in the following year, YFN Lucci would try and level up too, making bigger inroads into the music industry and building himself an empire. However, unfortunately, as Lucci was growing in the music business, his past ties to the streets remained. And as he would continue to use his music to reflect on his dark past, sadly that same past would come back to haunt him. In 2017, YFN Lucci would honour his lost friend Big Nut by releasing his debut EP titled Long Live Nut. This release was a success, landing at number 27 on the Billboard charts, and spawning the hit single Every Day We Lit with PNB Rock, landing at number 33 on Billboard, the highest charting song of Lucci's career, and a track that is, in my opinion, a certified classic. But it wasn't all good news for YFN Lucci in 2017, however. Lucci was arrested in 2017 after refusing to pull over and fleeing from the cops, eventually being arrested at gunpoint, being caught with 3 weapons, but fortunately no drugs, despite the police claiming that they could smell marijuana, with Lucci himself being pictured balling in the back of a cop car with 2 chains on, looking clean and unbothered. Apparently following this incident, Lucci made bail, getting out, hopping straight on a private jet, and still managing to make a big show in another state. A close call for Lucci, but unfortunately he couldn't stay out of trouble. Again in June 2017, he's arrested in Tennessee alongside Lil Wayne's daughter Reginae, who he was dating at the time. With these kinds of incidents combined with the music, Lucci was getting a whole bunch of attention, both good and bad. Meanwhile, in 2017, Young Thug had spent months crafting a country-inspired new mixtape, originally titled Easy Breezy Beautiful Thugger Girls, or EBBTG for short. It was eventually released under the title Beautiful Thugger Girls on the 16th of June 2017. This date was coincidentally the birthday of Tupac Shakur, and naturally a lot of different Tupac-related things were going on around the time of Tupac's birthday. This included the release of long-awaited Tupac biopic All Eyes on Me, but there was also YFN Lucci, who had released a tribute song to Tupac called Light Pack on Tupac's birthday too. Now this wouldn't have been a big deal had Young Thug not hopped on Twitter a couple of days later, revealing to the world that he had actually dropped his Beautiful Thugger Girls album on Tupac's birthday on purpose, because as he said in his tweet, he is the new Pac and that Young Thug is the Thug that Tupac didn't get to become, with Thug saying that he was going to finish what Tupac started. Now, this kind of comment naturally didn't rub hip-hop purists up the right way at all. But then again, let's not forget who's truly to blame for the Young Thug Tupac comparisons. Wyclef Jean, who was the first person to originally start calling Young Thug the new Tupac in 2016. But anyway, for YFN Lucci, this was the perfect opportunity to dig up their old bitter feud. And in response to Thug's tweets, Lucci piped up on Twitter himself, saying Tupac would have never worn a dress, clown emoji. Now, Thug responded to this with cryptic tweets, questioning whether Lucci was big mad or little mad, and calling him a peon and a buster. But then Thug's tweets took a little bit more of a dark turn, as he went on to say that Lucci should humble himself and thank God that he's in a position to take care of his mother. You know, the one who was shot in his home, with Thug going on to suggest that doing too much could lead to Lucci being put to sleep. Now, in spite of this very brief flare-up for all of Twitter to see, the real feud between these two remained beneath the surface for the remainder of 2017. That summer, Thug would go on to have the biggest debut of his entire career, his feature on chart-topping global hit Havana with Camila Cabello. Meanwhile, Lucci, still relatively new to becoming a Billboard charting successful rapper, is being profiled by...
I still don't know who that is, bro.
Rap media organizations like Complex, talking about how all of his dreams have finally come true through the music industry. Thing is though, in the streets of Atlanta, things were still pretty dangerous for both sides. One incident did make its way to the media, but has been pretty well hidden since it happened, was the January 12th shooting of YSL rapper Lil Duke outside of Atlanta's Magic City nightclub, when apparently following a confrontation inside the club, Duke was chased out of the club by a man with a gun, eventually being shot outside. According to a police report that later leaked, Duke was chased by 4 men, being shot in his shoulder and foot and left bleeding heavily. He was able to flee to a nearby Greyhound bus terminal, where he found safety and was eventually taken to hospital. Now, this incident was generally kept under wraps, but a surveillance clip from the incident leaked online around a year after it happened. But since then, that clip has been pretty well scrubbed from the internet. Now, after a lot of digging, I was actually able to find that clip, but I'm not going to risk putting that up on YouTube. I mean, this kind of incident just goes to show you, no matter how much success you or your team can achieve in the music industry, there's always going to be danger in the streets, as the shadow of past events continues to follow you into the present. But despite the dangers his team were facing in the streets, this didn't stop Young Thug continuing to provide opportunity for his team and his family. Summer 2018 actually saw Young Thug releasing his first YSL label compilation album called Slime Language. Meanwhile, YFN Lucci was also having a great 2018 focusing on music. His March 2018 album release, Ray Ray from Summerhill, ends up going 14 on Billboard, the highest performing project of his career, but as usual, there's no shortage of controversy surrounding Lucci either. In July 2018, he gets arrested once again, this time on video.
Yo, Lucci is dead ass getting arrested right there. Holy this is motherfucking Lucci. Holy yo, fucking Lucci.
Now, towards the end of 2018, there was a brief glimmer of hope that maybe Young Thug and YFN Lucci might be on the road to making amends, when both Lucci and Thug appeared on separate tracks on the same project, Atlanta rap legend T.I.'s Dime Trap. Unfortunately, this didn't lead to any kind of reconciliation between these two sides, and T.I.'s album would ultimately be the closest we would ever get to seeing these two ATL giants squash the beef and jump on a track together. And moving forward into 2019, the unfortunate truth is, the beef would reignite, and YFN Lucci and Young Thug would once again go back and forth exchanging deadly threats, once again on Twitter.
Losing money on ads without results?
And when your nose is running, you know you got that bitch
campaign
seasoned.
ROI with
You know that bitch seasoned.
The beef between Thug and Lucci was reignited seemingly out of nowhere in March 2019, when Thug popped up on Twitter talking about people have slat in their mouths but ain't downed none. Now, to me, it's unclear whether he's dissing the ops who have the slat's name in their mouths talking smack about his movement, or if he's dissing wannabe slats who claim his movement but haven't put in any work. But a few days later, Thug would post up once again, making it clear to the world exactly who he's having problems with. Thug would actually take to social media, threatening to slap both YFN Lucci and terrifying Houston rapper Source Walker.
Man, I'll slap the hell out your little bomb, man. My teeth got more than your little broke ass life, boy. Stop playing, slap your little. As soon as I see you, like I said, bust it. You do it, look.
I don't remember this one. Now, I remember a lot of, I watched a lot of lives and stories when I was in high school. Young Boy Bonds, who else? Babies, The Futures, his, Doug's, who else? There's a couple more. But they would just do like sneak disses on live.
Now, Young Thug's apparent disrespect to YFN Lucci's teeth is significant because the viral image had been going around showing just how nasty Lucci's gnashes were underneath his grills. Lucci clapped back, calling Young Thug a homophobic slur and a punching bag.
Hey, man. Y'all stop tagging it. Man. Slap. Nobody. Yeah, man. All that punching back, banging, slapped out. All his little friend, he wanna make cool with him. He got niggas wanna link with. He punch that. You got in there. Come on, man. I'm not a hoe, man. That nigga been running out the mall, boy. You a hoe.
Yeah, punching bag.
You don't never put Instagram drop and shit, do it.
Yeah.
Come on, hoe.
Yeah.
Cheap ass teeth in your mouth. Nigga.
Cheap ass.
I'm gonna bust you down against some motherfuckers. Damn, cheap ass earring, cheap ass jewelry.
Source Walker also jumped in, reposting a clip of Young Thug beating the boxing pads like a little bitch. After that, Young Thug confirmed that he would be slapping Lucci on sight next time he sees him, as well as saying that his teeth cost more than Lucci's life.
Man, of course I'm gonna slap the fuck out of Lucci. I don't slap the fuck out of Sauce. I'm slapping the hell out y'all little nigga. Stop playing.
I was gonna say, bro, I'm not gonna lie. Thug's always been dripped out, bro. Thug's always had that jewelry on, bro. I don't know what he's talking about. The chains, he had I have more chains than that man, what he had on, bro. And the grills, bro, like, get out of here, dude. Grills ain't shit, dog. If you repping grills and you bragging about that shit, bro, you got the wrong shit, cause it's all about the wrist. It's all about that what you got on the wrist, though, bro. And a lot of rappers be having the fake ass shit and the cheap ass shit. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think there's any rapper really that has legit dope ass watches. Like, I'm talking expensive. I'm talking $2-3 million watches. I don't think there's a rapper in the game. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe Lil Wayne. He's been in there so long. There ain't none of them like that, bro. Like, they rich. They are rich as fuck for real, bro. But when it comes to like rich, they're the lower class of rich. They ain't competing. They're not competing. But they do got that. They're rich. I'm not hating. I'm not saying I'm nothing compared to them. But I'm just saying, when they try to flex in that like bogus ass jewelry, bro, like that tiny ass earring, bro, get the shit out of here, dog. Like, look what Thug got on. He got glasses, diamond the fuck out. How many chains?
So, y'all niggas play.
Like, what, bro? And then he has the grills.
Just really tell me, like, confirm that
and the earrings.
Don't know what's happening, but y'all feel like I'm a hoe, or y'all feel like y'all play with me, or I need to feel some type of way. Just be feeling a weird way about it. Like, I need to make it feel something like, slam a bitch, or I don't care, bro. I won't water.
In response to this, Lucci would make a post showing off his immaculate diamond teeth, as well as atting Young Thug's fiancée Jerica, along with an extra disrespectful caption saying your husband ain't nothing. But thankfully, Lucci himself would eventually cool off, posting to IG that he got carried away with his earlier posts. But the social media war of words was far from over, because a month later, Young Thug would clown Lucci on social media, reposting a clip of a stripper calling out Lucci for being cheap.
Oh, bitch.
But soon, things in the streets of Atlanta would get much more serious than tweets flying back and forth, because a month after that, bullets would fly back and forth, and in May 2019, YFN Lucci's Mercedes G-Wagon would be sprayed up with bullets in Atlanta. Lucci was luckily not driving the car when it was targeted, but apparently a man was hit in the vehicle twice. But it was really in June 2019 when the disrespect in this beef would reach a disgusting new high, as it eventually emerged on social media that somebody had vandalized the gravesite of Lucci's fallen mentor Big Nut, spray painting the word slat over his headstone in green paint. An incredibly disrespectful act that no doubt had far more serious consequences than social media would ever know. Now, a month after that shameful incident, it would be time for more music. On August the 16th, 2019, Young Thug would finally drop his long-awaited album So Much Fun. And straight from its opening track, there are a couple of lyrics that some people thought may have had some secret hints to the ongoing feuds that Thug had been involved in. There's a lyric where Thug says that somebody on his team has had a chain stolen from them, but he spinning to try and find it. In fact, when it comes to chain snatchings, it seems like there has been a long-running back and forth between these two groups, because there's another clip circulating on social media seemingly depicting a YSL member showing off a YFN chain that they had recently snatched.
Get the chain though, I'm a fuck nigga. Just get the chain though, I'm a fuck nigga.
Also in that intro track, Just How It Is, Young Thug also says that the last person that tried him almost got popped at Atlanta's Lenox Mall. Now, it was unclear initially what this could have been referring to, but in the days following the release of this song, a picture begins to circulate on social media. This is a picture that Young Thug had apparently posted up on his own Instagram, showing a blue Mercedes parked outside Lenox Mall with the trunk open and two people standing next to it. He captioned this picture, "Nice car." Well, this car is YFN Lucci's. And at the time, Thug also posted a clip to his story where he appeared to be telling Lucci not to blow the motor in his car and calling him a scary ass boy.
Don't blow the motor, scary.
So, after all of this came to the surface, YFN Lucci took to Instagram to respond to Young Thug's lyrics on his album, labeling the lyrics as a lie, calling it a cat-ass album, then going on to suggest that Young Thug shitted on himself at Lenox Mall, with Young Thug then clapping back with the ominous and frankly incriminating post, saying, "At YFN, if I ain't like what you do for your mother and kids, I would have been killed you. Crying face, laughing face, crying face, laughing face." Now, honestly, this is a slightly surprising post for somebody that likes to keep things pretty tight-lipped when it comes to street business on social media. But anywho, a little while after this, YFN Lucci was tapped in with the V103 radio station in Atlanta in an interview where he decided to stoke the flames of this beef even further. Speaking on Thug's fiancée once again, Lucci would boldly proclaim that he had been in the bed with her a couple of times.
Is it about a girl, yeah?
Nope.
I don't know, he probably be, his girl, how she was about me. I was in the bed with her a couple times.
Wait, she said that's a lie though. She said that's a lie.
Now, for the record, once again, Jerica has vehemently denied the claim on multiple platforms, saying that she has never hooked up with Lucci. She's also denied it in video. But none of that's really important, because we all know that YFN Lucci is really just trying to say whatever he can to get under Young Thug's skin. And you could argue that he was successful, because only a day after that interview comes out, we see Thug being interviewed on Big Boy's show, where he's talking a whole lot of gangster shit. He says that when he kills someone, he hopes that they forgive him, like someone that kills people on the regular.
He already know my heart, so it's like, once you just, I'm too pure. So once you just, you do that, it's like, no. I forgive. I always forgive. If I kill a person, I pray to God that he forgive me.
However, when Thug is asked about YFN Lucci, he says that things aren't serious.
Sometimes I just like to have fun. It's no hard feelings. I hope he get richer than me. Take care of his family for life. I have no problem with nobody. I just like, we had problems before where we done disagreed on, but it's not a problem to where it's like, oh, I hope he die, or like, hell no.
Clearly things are a little serious, because Thug then goes on to say that he saw YFN Lucci at the blue carpet at the BET Awards, suggesting that he could have got it then.
Nigga, you don't mean no harm. I done seen you. Nigga, we just was on the blue carpet together in BET. You couldn't have meant no harm. Because you could have got it in.
But things weren't over, because after that, Thug got biblical, referencing his earlier post on social media saying that he would have killed Lucci if he wasn't doing good for his family, with Thug telling Big Boy that he really appreciates the good that Lucci does for his family, suggesting that he has videos of Lucci's kids on his phone, and saying this is why he hasn't done something bad to Lucci.
I put up a post the other day, I'm like, nigga, if I ain't like what you did for your mom and kids, like, I'm bigging them up, like, nigga, I like what you do for your mom and your kids. I got videos saved in my phone of goddamn him riding in the car with his kids. The way he treated his mom and his kids will really stop me from doing something to him.
Now, saying that you've got clips of next man's kids on your phone is basically killing talk. But let's not forget that Lucci had posted a clip of Young Thug's daughter all the way back in 2016. At this point, all bets are off and things are getting very scary indeed. A day after that appearance, YFN Lucci then appears on Vlad TV, where he discusses the beef with Thug, but thankfully downplays the whole thing.
You and Young Thug went back and forth at one point.
Nah, I don't go back and forth with nobody.
I don't think Young Thug likes me either, so.
Thing is, despite both sides ultimately playing it down, real street situations would continue to follow Lucci throughout 2020. In June, there was a shooting on one of his music video sets, where apparently 21 shots were fired and a 15-year-old boy was grazed. Lucci would later explain to DJ Vlad that they were shooting a music video, shots were fired, and just everybody started shooting back.
Taking a shot. They heard like 4 gunshots, you feel? But then nobody know where they coming from, but everybody...
Jalen Williams agrees to 5-year extension with the Thunder, $287 million. Thunder are the worst team in the league, bro. bro. So, like, come on. Dude. They just extended Shay, just extended Chet, and now just extended fucking Jalen. They're fucked. I hope. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not. I hope a piece of the puzzle goes missing. That's what I hope. Yeah, and then what happens when that mother? Okay, what happens when someone gets hurt? What happened if Shay tears his ACL? What happened if Chet? Whatever, just anything. They just in total they wasted almost $1 billion. They literally almost spent $1 billion. Literally $1 billion.
And apparently during the shootout, Lucci's own Rolls Royce was one of the casualties, with the car being shot numerous times by somebody on his team.
Somebody shot my fucking Rolls Royce.
Taking him out of the rookie,
man.
came out of the rookie contract, and then giving him a good contract. Y'all are stupid. You think anybody's gonna come after them? No, bro. Ain't nobody going after Jalen Williams, bro. Lame as fuck, bro.
On the fucking ground. Yeah, that shit sound like 15,000.
I mean, yeah, there's teams that would love to have
Now, a month
Chet.
after this, the battle for Lennox Mole was reignited when
Not
YSL member
that
Yak
much.
Gotti posts a picture of him standing on the back of YFN Lucci's 650 Maybach convertible parked outside Lennox Mall. In the picture, he is flipping off Lucci, but that's not all. Yak Gotti decided to take this disrespect to commercial levels, using the photograph of him disrespecting Lucci and his Benz as the front cover for his YSL Records single, In a Coupe. Now, YFN Lucci responded to this, saying that Yak Gotti had dapped him up just moments before inside Lennox Mall.
The fuck you ain't say nothing in the mall? You want to shake your head and shit. You shake your head to stand on my car, bitch ass nigga. I'm mad as hell. I just see these fuck niggas in the mall. These niggas ain't say shit, nigga dolo. I go outside, folk gotta tell me niggas standing on my car taking pictures.
Now, a month after this, for a moment, it looked like YFN stood for Your First Nina, as YFN Lucci was caught on camera accidentally letting off a real rifle on the set of one of his music video shoots. Lucci later explained that he thought he'd been given a fake gun on the set of this video, but it turns out that it was real and fully loaded, with Lucci only finding that out when he, pulled the trigger. But it turns out that it was real and fully loaded.
I'm thinking they bring me a fake gun, and I just hit it. I ain't think no then, but that shit just, they shot. And I said, oh, that's why you said I'm tied back.
Now, naturally, in response to YFN Lucci's embarrassing accidental discharge, Young Thug immediately took to Twitter to mock YFN Lucci's weak stick game, simply posting, "Put that gun down, son." Now, this would actually be the last official and public back and forth between the YSL and YFN crews. Because unfortunately for the YFN crew, things would very soon come crashing down in a dramatic fashion, when a deadly shootout would leave a man dead and YFN Lucci behind bars, along with a bunch of his inner circle being charged with serious crimes.
Damn. They wouldn't did a hit and got fucked up. Or they did some fucking up.
According to police reports and court documents, on the 10th of December 2020, YFN Lucci and 3 other men drove by car to a location in Atlanta. One of the people Lucci was with was named James Adams. He allegedly recorded himself whilst in the car with Lucci, telling the camera that they planned to fuck the city up. Now, the 2 other men that YFN Lucci was with were Rayvon Boyd, aka CP3, a rapper from Miami, and a man named Leroy Pitts. According to a warrant, Lucci drove his car full of hitters to the 900 block of Dimmock Street at around 5:15 p.m. pulling onto a shoulder when Adams and Boyd began to open fire from the car. Whoever they were shooting at shot back, with that man, James Adams, in Lucci's car being fatally struck in the head, dying, and subsequently being thrown from the vehicle, or as the police described it, manually ejected. They threw him out the car, with a harrowing 911 phone call being made by an innocent woman who was just passing by and found this dead body in the street.
What's the address of the emergency? We need an ambulance. Somebody is laying out. Somebody, I don't know if he barely. Let me connect you. He said somebody just threw him out of the car. Let me connect to the ambulance. Huh? He's still trying to fight for his life.
EMS, what's the address of the emergency?
Baby, can y'all please get an ambulance here? This man is dying. He's shot in the head. He just took his last breath, man.
What street are you on, ma'am? Can you give him your location, please, for the ambulance to get the guy some help?
What is his address? Man, he man just took his last breath, man.
Man, we have help on the way already. Tell me exactly what happened.
We don't know. Me and my sister, we were just walking down the street and somebody just rolled down the street with a man hanging out the car. They just pushed him out the truck and left him for dead.
Man, I thought you said he was shot in the head.
Yes, he was shot in the head. They threw him out the car. He just died. He just took his last breath.
We have the ambulance already on the way, okay?
Okay.
And can you tell me what kind of vehicle? He's going to get fired and PD and round.
Can you tell me what kind of vehicle he was stolen from, please? White.
A white car, truck, or SUV?
SUV.
What direction did the SUV?
Yes, his whole body was just hanging out the car.
Listen, just stay on the phone. Can you tell me if you saw any of the people that were driving the car, whether they're adults or kids?
They were driving real fast. We seen.
All right.
Now, one of the men that they were shooting at eventually turned up at a local fire station with a gunshot wound, and just over a month after the incident itself, YFN Lucci was identified as the driver of that car. Now, weirdly, in between the shooting and his arrest, YFN Lucci appears on DJ Vlad for an interview once again. Now, it's unclear exactly when the interview was recorded, but the comments are frankly wild, with many people suggesting that Detective Vlad may have had something to do with building the case. Now, obviously that's just jokes, but there were some very interesting and illuminating moments in this interview. Lucci explained that at this point things were so dangerous for him in his city that he had to ride around in a bulletproof car.
Well, you actually have a bulletproof GMC?
Yeah.
Okay.
I paid $145 for it.
That's not bad.
Nah, not to save life.
Lucci also commented on the feud with Thugger, saying that there was nothing to work out between them, and also saying that he never sees him in Atlanta.
But could it be worked out? Y'all do something together?
We ain't nothing to work out. He in LA. I'm in the A. Shit.
So you say he doesn't even stay in Atlanta anymore?
I don't know, Sam.
Now, Lucci would eventually turn himself into the police on the 15th of January 2021, with Young Thug reacting to the news, saying free all, because he doesn't want to see anyone in jail or not. And soon, Thug's wish would come true, as Lucci would appear in court after a few days in jail, eventually bailing out on $500,000 bond. Being seen on social media February 2021, celebrating his release after bonding out.
Let's go home. Yeah. I had to switch the jacket inside out, man. I didn't want to come out the same way I went in.
Now, in my opinion, it's not unthinkable that Lucci could beat a case where he was the driver in a drill gone wrong where somebody in his car ended up getting killed. Problem is, the Atlanta police would have a trump card up their sleeve, because Lucci's mere involvement and proximity to this tragic mess placed him right in the middle of a tangled mess of interstate criminals. This allowed the Atlanta police to wrap him up, along with a bunch of his friends, in a massive racketeering case, which would be much harder to beat than those original charges for being in that car. And in May 2021, YFN Lucci probably had the most terrifying moment of his life, when the Fulton County grand jury issued a 75-page, 106-count indictment after a 6-month investigation, naming YFN Lucci among around a dozen other individuals in a massive racketeering conspiracy case targeting Atlanta blood gangs with ties to bloods in different states.
What?
The Honorable Podium Series, engineered for exceptional results.
New at 6, a massive gang indictment in Fulton County charged a dozen people with a racketeering conspiracy, including a famous musical artist, YFN Lucci.
Now, the indictment says that Lucci's an associate of the Bloods gang.
And in this instance, YFN Lucci's music wasn't going to do him any favors, because prosecutors had directly used his songs, videos, and lyrics as proof of his blood membership.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis says her team used a YouTube music video entitled Shine On, quote, which includes lyrics promoting criminal gang activity in a massive RICO or racketeering indictment to shine a light on the alleged gang associations of two of the performers in the video, music megastar YFN Lucci, real name Rayshawn Bennett, and Justin Ushery, aka Bloody J, two of a dozen defendants in the case, which involves a variety of crimes. Investigators also used social media posts. We pulled several off Instagram that seemed to match descriptions in the indictment to help build their gang case.
And this was a serious indictment with a whole bunch of counts of racketeering related to crimes like aggravated assault, murder, unlawful gun possession, armed robbery, property damage, theft, and other gang-related charges. And along with Lucci, also charged in the indictment was big at...
They threw the fucking book at these guys. Aggravated assault, felony. Property damage, felony. Murder, well, if you don't know what fucking murder is, you're a fucking dumbass. Unlawful gun possession. Depending on the state, misdemeanor or felony. Armed robbery, felony. Every one of them got a felony. That's
theft
crazy.
And other gang-related charges. And along with Lucci, also charged in the indictment was Big Atlanta Blood, an early comrade of Young Thug and Lucci, Bloody J, whose YouTube uploads were used as direct proof that he was indeed a big old blood. With both YFN Lucci and Bloody J's appearance in the music video for Shine On being cited in the indictment, and the indictment itself went on to explain the complex web of interstate gang activity that had been going on between YFN and the Bloods in other states. The indictment said that YFN was an Atlanta Blood set affiliated with the original Inglewood family Bloods from Los Angeles, with ties to the Atlanta Blood Gang. It goes on to connect them to a Miami-based crew of Bloods called the Bloodhounds that emerged from the 13th Avenue Gang, explaining that in Atlanta, the Inglewood family Bloods from LA are represented by local crews like ABG and Bird Gang under a national blood umbrella that also incorporated some of these Miami sets. And whilst this indictment didn't target Young Thug or the YSL crew specifically, it did mention them and attempt to explain how their structure works, with it being said that YSL were apparently aligned with the Rolling 60s Crips from LA, which is maybe why we saw that early collab between Bloody J, Young Thug, and Nipsey Hussle, who was actually on that...
I was going to say Nipsey Hussle, I had no idea collabed with.
...track talking about how Rolling 60s gangbang in different states. So this massive indictment puts the YFN crew in direct rivalry with the YSL crew, even going as far as to specifically describe the YSL members as referring to themselves as slats, and suggesting that their ops refer to themselves as SK or Slat Killers. Numerous YFN members are named in the indictment as having been spotted on social media referring to themselves as Slat Killers, and unfortunately for Lucci, the feds would make a whole bunch of effort to tie his gang activity to his music career, alleging that YFN started around 2015 and was mainly centered around Lucci himself, describing YFN as a racket as part of the racketeering case, going on to say that the gang not only committed crimes to further the organization, but also accused them of using social media to advertise the strength and influence of the gang, with specific social media moments being cited, like a clip of YFN Lucci posing with a gun, along with a caption where he allegedly had said, "I'm ready to noodle me an N-word." The cops said that the YFN recording studio was actually a gang stronghold, which even ended up getting shot up in a drive-by, and apparently after it was shot up, Lucci was caught on a jailhouse phone recording, telling his homies, "We are gang, and we need to move more dangerous like we're at war." The indictment went on to say that the 13th Avenue hot boys from Miami, who evolved into a blood set called the Bloodhounds, were connected with the YFN crew through music, with Lucci himself apparently being given access to dangerous and inaccessible parts of Miami when visiting there to film music videos, referring specifically to social media posts of Lucci in the Pork and Beans projects, a notoriously rough Miami hood where he pulled up to film music videos.
Motherfucking game right now. I know what the fuck going on, man. A whole lot of game shit, a whole lot of plot shit. Ain't no hood, ain't no city where they say I can't go. And if that, I probably been that shit.
Now the cops actually state that simply being on social media tagged in the Pork and Beans projects is enough to prove Lucci's leadership role in an interstate criminal enterprise. Now that might be a little bit of a stretch, but regardless, the cops say that these music collabs eventually flourish into a full-blown alliance in the streets between these two criminal blood sets. Now this is how CP3, the rapper from Miami, ended up getting tangled up in that shooting where Lucci was driving and a man died, with CP3 being named in the indictment that also referenced his first day out rap music video. Frankly, Lucci's biggest mistake was being in that car when that shooting went down. Having been the driver of that car, Lucci is implicated in this indictment for murder, along with CP3 and Leroy Pitts, with the indictment saying that these three men caused the death of James Adams by participating in an assault and shooting at a number of other people who shot back. But here's the thing, beating that complicated charge on its own might not have been impossible, but it's what happened after that has made Lucci look so much worse. The indictment suggests that following this tragic incident, Lucci allegedly made things worse for himself by tampering with evidence, by hiding the vehicle used in the fatal incident, then making matters even worse. All three people that survived being in that car are also charged with hiring the firearms used in the crime, and the situation wasn't made any better by social media posts by Lucci and his crew either, with Lucci being quoted having posted to his IG a few months after the incident, saying whenever he gets drunk he thinks about murder. Separate to that, another damning allegation against Lucci's character in this indictment is a claim that on the 1st of August 2020, Lucci strangled and beat a man just for playing the Ox music, and then apparently Lucci paid off the guy to avoid being charged. Not a good look for Lucci, and beyond that, several other people around him faced pretty damning allegations on their own too. A 22nd of September 29 incident where a YFN associate named Ty shot a man, a May 25th 2020 armed robbery where an AK-47 was used and shots were fired, an August the 27th 2020 aggravated assault, an October the 16th 2020 armed robbery.
Look at all the counts, man. Count 56? Imagine hearing all these fucking counts.
An aggravated assault, felony murder on December 10th for that incident with the car, an 18th December charge for tampering with evidence, along with a whole bunch more incriminating social media documentation, such as the YFN affiliate Nard, who is apparently caught on social media saying he has so many bodies he feels like John Wick, as well as a number of YFN affiliates apparently being caught in a group chat repeatedly saying free somebody called No Love, which the indictment states is actually the person who is currently locked up for having shot Lil Duke from YSL at the Magic City nightclub. That's a lot of accusations. It's a lot to be accused of, and it's going to be a lot to fight. YFN Lucci's lawyer has outright denied the charges, saying Lucci is a successful recording artist, and his First Amendment rights protect him in saying whatever he wants in his songs and social media.
Now, he's not a gang member. What he is an internationally recognized musical artist that is a triple platinum winner.
Lucci's lawyer, Drew Findling, added,
his First Amendment right to musically express himself is no different than the famous rock song, I Shot the Sheriff. It's not criminal activity.
I'm not sure whether that argument's going to be enough to convince the feds. And as of today, YFN Lucci is still waiting to face this enormous RICO case. And to make matters even worse, while he was locked up, YFN Lucci just caught another major loss for his music career, apparently being ordered to repay $1.7 million after losing a case alleging that he had stolen the biggest hit of his career, Every Day We Live. And that, unfortunately, is where the YFN situation is still to this day. And no matter how you look at it or what you choose to believe, I think it's safe to say that right now, things couldn't possibly get worse for
what? Yeah, thug on top,
YFN
bro.
Lucci.
Not gonna lie.
For 25 years, Friendship Academy of the Arts has been where creativity meets.
Look, the whole YFN crew could beat this case and Lucci could be home again soon, ready to kickstart his rap career once again. And if there's genuinely more to the story and Lucci is completely innocent, I really do hope that we see him back on the scene doing positive things. But if there's one big message that I've gotten personally from this particular story, it's that realistically, no matter who you are, no matter how far in your career you are, you should be very careful when it comes to posting your gang affiliations or criminal activities to social media. This story was pieced together with a lot of hidden details that were under the surface. Unlike some of the more modern feuds where rappers make it easy for me, calling out dead ops by government name on every song. In my opinion, Young Thug is very smart in the way that he makes his art. His slime and slap branding and imagery do a lot to hint towards and conjure up a feeling and a vibe of gang culture and activities, without his songs being crammed wall to wall with overly incriminating lyrics or direct incitement to violence. Young Thug's music is still lit without having to put dozens of directly verifiable references to real crimes in his songs. And listen, rappers, if you don't mention your dead ops by their real names on your songs, people like me aren't going to Google them. Now, YFN Lucci's music isn't particularly incriminating, but his social media activity might just be the thing that takes him down. Your songs aren't really a safe place to talk in detail about the real life dirt and crimes that you've done in the streets, and I'll tell you what, neither is your Instagram page or your YouTube channel. Because once this information is out there, you can't take it back. You can't get it taken down. It's forever. It's out there now, and it won't take long for it to be found. By the fans, by the feds, and by annoying internet detectives like me. So today's lesson is don't commit crimes, don't join gangs, And if you do, for the love of God, don't put it on Instagram. Hope you enjoyed today's story. Hope you found it interesting. I want to thank everybody who has been supporting the channel recently. Shout out all.
Man, yeah, go follow Trap Lil Ross, man. And that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 and 2. I'm going to post this tonight. Well, you guys won't know that. But yeah, I'll see ya. It was posted today. It was... Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Deuce.